and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Amelia, and today, since I'm running out of ideas to do and there are no more tags left for me to do, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite contemporary novels of this month, currently, right now. I feel like I don't normally read a lot of contemporary novels, and then I look back on like my list of books that I've read this year, and I realize I have read a lot of contemporary novels. So these aren't the contemporary novels that I've read this year. They're just as of, what's the date? 7/18, I believe. As of July 18th, these are my favorite contemporary novels. So, without further ado, let's get started. And number 10, we have Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe. Yes, this is where I got my name from. It is, yes, a very long title. Also, yes, it was a pain to tell my friends what I was reading. Wow. See, I'm just psychic, and that's how I can tell you were asking all these questions. Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe is about these two kids, Cliff and Aaron. And Cliff is kind of like more on the bullied side. He's tall, and he doesn't really do very well in school, so he gets called Neanderthal. Yes, obviously it makes sense. And then there's Aaron, and he is a popular kid, and either Aaron's or Cliff's boyfriend commits suicide. I think it was Aaron's. I don't really remember. No, someone else's. I haven't read this book in like 4 months, so. And they're working together, and they are trying to honor the kid who commits suicide, and they're trying to honor him and make sure that he feels like, you know, like Dear Evan Hansen, but without like the lying and the deceit, and the depressing musical numbers. So I loved this book. I thought it was fantastic. The ending didn't really work with the rest of it, and some of the characters didn't really, like, I couldn't really connect with some of them because they just didn't really like fit with the rest of it. They felt out of place. So that's why this one's number 10. I did really like it. And also, I had a lot of contemporary novels to choose from, so if any of these aren't like your favorites and you don't understand why they're so high, or this is your absolute favorite book and you understand how it's number 10, I had a lot of novels to choose from, so that's why it's number 10 and not higher, because there was I read a lot of contemporary novels, so much more than I think I do. We have number 9, which I did actually look up, and yes, I do own the book for this one, but there's no actual book record. So this is Ship It. It's by Britta Lundin, which I think is a cool name, but it's spelled differently. Can you see that? I don't know if they can see that. So Ship It is about this girl named Claire, and she's a big fan of this one show, Bleeding Heart or something. Smokey, that's the main character. I don't know. And I don't know, Bleeding Heart, Cave Heart, Broken Heart, something to do with heart. Maybe that's the main character's name. Yes, I don't know. I've read this book in like 8 months. I haven't read a lot of these books in a while, so this is going to be a struggle. You're going to have to bear with me. So Ship It is about this girl named Claire, and she gets the opportunity to go to a panel for the two main actors of her favorite show, Bleeding Heart, Smoky Heart, something. I don't know. And she asks them a question about the two main characters, who I do remember the names of, and it's Smokey and Heart. And she believes that the show is queerbaiting, since the two characters should most definitely be together, since they have a catchphrase and everything. And it's like so stucky, I don't even know what's going on. And she believes that they should be together, and so she asks the producers and the main actors a question, and the producer is like, this kid is stupid, and the actors are like, how dare you? What even is this? Gay people in an action show? Never. That was sarcasm, by the way. It was totally sarcasm. And so Claire, because she upsets the panel and everyone's like chanting the ship name, who, I don't remember the ship name. And so she gets the opportunity basically to hush her up to go on tour with the rest of the actors when they go from like panel to panel, and she gets the opportunity to come with them, and they're just trying to hush her up, and she's using that time to A, write fan fiction, which I think is very honorable, and B, to convince the two main actors, Forrest and Rico, I think, I don't know, it's a miracle I'm pulling these names out of my brain, to get them to make her ship canon, because she believes that it's right. So it's narrated by Forrest, who is one of the actors, and Claire. And it's their stories. It's like as Claire's realizing that she's being a bit too like crazy about the show, and Forrest realizing that maybe Claire's opinions isn't wrong. So that's really interesting. This book was really good. Some of the characters were a bit like cardboard cutout. I'm spending like 5 minutes talking about this, and I spent like 2 minutes on the other ones. And it's really good. Some of the characters were a bit cardboard cutouts, and the representation of like fans was pretty accurate, but the actors, it just felt like it just didn't really feel, not like accurate, but it didn't really feel like, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. It just felt kind of like it fell flat. Like it wasn't really as powerful. Like the meaning wasn't as powerful as I think the author meant it to be. Other than that, I really loved this book. I thought it had really good representation, and I thought it spoke really well to like how fans like feel about their shows, and it's just a really good book. If you do need a recommendation, I recommend this book. It was fantastic. I recommend all these books actually. They're all really good. Ship It's really good too though. Next up we have number 8, right? Yes. Number 8, I'll Give You the Sun by somebody. I'll Give You the Sun is about twins Noah and Ju, and how they're like, it's kind of like they're falling out as like they're going through like life and their teenage years, and they're not really like talking anymore. So one of the twins, Noah, is narrating their past, like leading up to when they like started fighting, and Jude, the other twin, is narrating the present and like what's happening like with her brother and like herself, and like realizing what's going on and everything. It's a really good book. I don't really remember what's happening. I had to look this up before I started filming this video because I haven't read it in like 2.5 years. But it's so good. I really loved it. I love stories about people like coming together and like family, like not like found family exactly, but like people like reconciling and realizing that like, yes, they did have problems, but like we can work together and we can be family again. I love that so much. It makes me really happy. And number 7, I'm gonna have to pull this book out of my bookshelf because it is, I'm struggling today. Leon the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. Leon the Offbeat is narrated by Leah, as she tries to deal with like finding colleges, going through college, realizing that some of her friends aren't really that great, some of her friends are more than friends, who she likes, prom. It's fantastic. It's not really a coming of age story, but it kind of is a coming of age story. I love Leah. She's fantastic. I relate to her on a personal level sometimes, and I just really love this book. Fantastic book. Love it. If you haven't read any of the Simonverse series or anything by Becky Albertalli, she's a fantastic author, and I love all of her works. The ending was a little rushed. I felt like this book could have been longer. Is anyone surprised to hear me talking about how much I didn't like the endings? I thought the ending was good, and I liked how all the characters, like I liked how they all like kind of like fell into like the little, I liked how they all ended up, who they ended up with, and like how they ended up together. And I thought the ending was super, super cute, and it was great, and I loved it, but it was a little rushed. That I think was my really only problem with it. It's so low on this list because there's a lot of books that I really don't have many problems with, that I had to like pick and choose for. It hurts my soul that Leon the Offbeat is this low, but I've read so many good contemporary novels. If you haven't read Leon the Offbeat or Simonverse the Homo Sapiens Agenda, what is with contemporary authors and the longest titles I've ever read? There's like 4 other books that just have extraordinarily long titles, and I just don't like it. Leon the Offbeat, fantastic. Alright, and then we have number 6. Also by Becky Albertalli plus Adam Silvera, is What If It's Us. I love the title. So cute. I love Dear Evan Hansen. What If It's Us is about these 2 boys whose names I probably should have looked up at the start of this, but I did not. And they meet in a chance encounter, and then they go their separate ways, and they try and find each other, and when they do, they start dating, and it's really cute. But it doesn't work out that well because they're like have differences, there's problems, secrets are being kept. It's disastrous and beautiful and cute and sad, and it really shows Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera is like great, like how they really will work. Oh my gosh, how they really work well together. So I really liked that. The characters were all really good. Like some of them weren't really like characters that were just kind of there, but most of the characters were really fleshed out. The ending, yes, here it is. Here is the ending. I didn't like, for a couple of reasons. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't read this book. It just felt not, like, it didn't really feel like it met, it didn't really feel like it connected with the rest of the book. It just kind of felt like disjointed. I was fine with the way it ended, and there was an epilogue, and the epilogue was just, ugh. There's another book on this list that has the exact same problem. But otherwise, What If It's Us was really, really good, and I really liked it. There's a common theme within all of these books, and if you look hard enough, you can see it. Number 5, we've made it to the top 5, and it is Ziggy, Stardust, and Me by James Brandon. Ziggy, Stardust, and Me is about this kid named Jonathan, and he meets this Lakota boy named Webb, and they don't really hit it off right away. Jonathan doesn't really want to get close to him since he doesn't really, like, he likes him and he doesn't really want to deal with that. Since his father, who's an alcoholic, like, kind of, like, treats him really badly. So he and Webb actually do start talking, and Jonathan realizes that maybe he isn't so, like, wrong, basically, and it's just kind of like a coming of age story of, like, realizing that, like, you can be whoever you want to be, and it's beautiful, and I love it so much. Some of the issues I feel like they talked about were kind of just touched over and not really that, like, gone into very deeply, but otherwise I feel like this was a pretty, like, accurate representation. I don't really know because I wasn't alive in 1973, but I feel like it was pretty accurate. I wasn't alive in 1973, so I can't really speak for that. A few issues that he did touch over, he went really in depth and he talked about it really well. There were a few issues that he just kind of, like, glanced over, were kind of, like, pushed to the side. But other than that, I feel like he did a really good job, and this book was really well written and really well, like, the way that it lined out was super well. So yes, Ziggy, Stardust, and Me is number 5. I do own the rest of these books, so that's exciting. Number 4 is Amelia Westlake Was Never Here, and I think I already have talked about this book. I think I've talked about all these books on my channel before. Not, like, in, like, book discussions, but just kind of, like, there's this book that I once read. So Amelia Westlake Was Never Here. It was about these two kids. Harriet, who is this, like, go-getter, and she's, like, the teacher's pet, and everyone doesn't really like her because she's kind of, like, knows everything. And there's this other kid, her name is Will, and she just likes to stand up for everything. Like, if there's a problem at the school, then she will be the one that stands up for it, and all the teachers basically hate her because she's telling them that and they go to, like, an all-girls boarding school where everything is really, really strict. And the plot of this book, if I can stop talking about the characters for half a second, is Harriet and Will work together to create this student. Her name is Amelia Westlake, and she's basically this, like, activist, and everybody loves her. And the school doesn't allow, like, anonymous submissions to, like, the newspaper, so Will and Harriet submit it under Amelia Westlake's name. I don't just like this book because her name's Amelia, but this is a fantastic book, and it really talks about, like, the issues, like, in certain schools, and, like, favoritism, as well as, like, sexism and like, homophobia, and it's just a fantastic book. The author, Erin Goff? I have no idea. She really did a really good job, like, getting into these issues and, like, showing them how, like, how certain people, like, might not really, like, see that they're issues and just might kind of, like, glance over, while other people could really, like, understand, like, how this, like, affects everyone. So she did a really good job of doing that. The book is really well told. This is the book with the ending was super awful and didn't really connect with the rest of the book, because the epilogue was just awful. You know in How I Met Your Mother, spoilers also for the last, like, 2 episodes of the last season, when Barney and Robin got married, and then, like, we get, like, a 2 years later, and they're, like, divorced and fighting all the time, and that was, like, what this ending was like, and it was, like, didn't really connect with, like, the rest of, like, the book, where, like, they were like, working together really well. So that kind of frustrated me. But other than that, this book was really good, and, like, the characters were really good, and it kind of, like, showed, like, how like toxic relationships can look, and like how like you can like get out of them, and like how like it might be kind of hard to see. So that was really interesting. I do recommend this book. There's a couple of cute femme/relationships, as well as like activism and like doing what's right for like just because it's right and not because like you get a reward out of it. So that was super fantastic, and this book was super good. And also it has my name in it, so it's exciting. What are we on? Oh, we're on number 3. Top 3. Woo! Number 3 is, can't pull the book out, Again But Better by Christine Riccio. This book is about this character Shane, and she goes to London to have like kind of like a travel year, or a year abroad, and she meets these new people, and she's like, okay, there's a couple of things that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like kiss a boy for the first time. I'm going to make new friends, make good friends, and just kind of enjoy myself. And it's her journey like through London in college, just trying to like figure out like who she is, like what she wants to be when she's older. It's like a fresh start basically. The characters were all really well fleshed out. Like Shane's, I think, best friend Babe was super like quirky, and it was super exciting to like see that, because there was like so many like different types of characters, and like the different like there was diversity, and it was just fantastic, and it was a great read, and it really showed how like a new start and like meeting new people and going to a new place can really like help you. And all the characters are super like, I'm not really good at names, y'all know this. I knew most of the characters by name by probably about here-ish. So that was super exciting. Christine just did a really good job writing out all of the characters, and I loved this book. It was so good. So Again But Better by Christine Riccio is number 3. And number 2 is I'm Not Dying With You Tonight by Gilly Siegel and Kimberly Jones. This book is about these 2 girls, Lena and Campbell, who are kind of at opposite ends of the popular spectrum. Lena has a killer style, an awesome boyfriend, she has everything worked out, and Campbell just kind of wants to lay low until school ends and she can leave. But they both attend the Friday night football game, and chaos descends from hate and violence, and that pushes the 2 girls together, and they have to work together to survive the night, because there's like race riots, and it's just chaos, it's mass destruction, it's insane, it's like thrilling, and it's kind of like you don't know what's gonna happen next, and it's so well written. Like everything about this book is like fantastic. It's a really important book, I think, to read right now. I think everyone should be reading this book. It's so good, and it really shows that like Lena and Campbell, who are really on like opposite ends of everything, they don't really like seem to agree on anything, and they have to work together to survive, and they have to work together to get together, and they kind of like need to learn about each other, or else like it's not going to go very well. I'm Not Dying With You Tonight is number 2. We have number 1, which is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I Wish You All the Best is about Bendy Backer, who comes out to their parents as non-binary, and their parents kick them out. So they go to live with their older sister Hannah and her husband Thomas, who Ben hasn't even met. So Ben has to go to a new school, and they have to make new friends, and they meet this boy named Nathan Allen, who's funny, he's clever, he's fantastic, I love him, and they kind of like start to fall. So that's really exciting. It's like a coming of age story of Ben trying to figure out who they are, who they can be, like what they like to do, basically like coming into like their sexuality, and it's so good. I love every single character in this. All the characters are super well written. So Nathan has 2 other friends whose names I can't remember right now. Okay, I don't remember their 2 friends' names, but they're super fantastic, and they're super funny, and like everyone is like has kind of their own like personality, like they're not like cardboard cutouts of each other. It's just super well written, it's funny, it's cute, it's sweet, it's heartwarming, it's perfect. Even the ending was good, guys, because the ending was good. That's all I ever need. So the ending was good, the characters were good, the plot was fantastic, all the characters were kind of like their own person. I don't really think I had any problems with this. There's this one character whose name I can't remember, and they're like a really good role model just for people of like sexuality who are coming out to their parents, and like it's just so beautiful. Like this is definitely like a must-read book for just everybody. It's so good. It has a lot of really good lessons. It talks a lot about sexuality and kind of like figuring that out. I loved this book. That's why it's number one. This book was so good. I loved it. I think everyone should read it, and that is why this is my number one. And that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun deciding. I didn't have a lot of fun. It was exciting to try and decide which are my top favorite contemporary novels. If you did like this video, maybe I'll do more for different genres like fantasy, adventure. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe down below. What are your favorite contemporary novels? Do you have one? Do you want more videos like these? Answer all those questions in the comments down below. While you're down there, please hit subscribe. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.